Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about Space Marines as we get into the gene seed of a Primaris Marine. We're going to be talking about the differences between a Space Marine and a Primaris Marine, and what makes a Primaris Marine much better than your regular average Space Marine. Now, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. This is actually a viewer request. A couple of you guys have been asking for more Primaris Marine videos, so we wanted to create this video to show the difference between the gene seed of a regular Space Marine to the Primaris. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the gene seed of the Primaris Marine. Though they now stand a step above the standard Astartes brethren, all Primaris Space Marines were still created using the original gene seeds of their Primarchs, like all other members of the Adeptus Astartes. Some voices within the Imperium now worry how this new type of transhuman warrior will react to the many genetic quirks and flaws found in the gene seed of some of the more unusual chapters, particularly given the long history of fiascos that have resulted from attempts to alter the Emperor's original work. Events like the Cursed Founding, which saw the descent of many of the founding chapters into the hands of chaos, or grotesquely mutated to the point of blasphemy. In the pursuit of this attempt to improve upon the original Space Marine template, Belisarius Cawl collected samples of the genomes of all 20 of the original Primarchs, including those deemed lost or traitors, though Guilliman made clear to his overeager servant that Primaris Astartes were to be created only from the lines of those of his brothers who led the 9 Loyalist Space Marine legions. It is known that in addition to the general advancements in their gene seed, Primaris Space Marines possess 3 additional gene seed implants compared to their standard brethren, and that their gene seed is far more genetically stable than that of their forerunners. Primaris Space Marine gene seed has only a 0.001% chance of genetic deviancy from the original baseline within the passage of each generation, which makes it nearly immune to the severe genetic instability suffered by chapters such as the Blood Angels and the Space Wolves over the course of their existence. Nearly every Space Marine created since the founding possesses 19 specialized organs derived from the gene seed. The Primaris Marines, however, are implanted with a further 3 additional organs. It was the Sancprimus Portum, a device containing potent genetic material harvested from the Primarchs, that allowed for this breakthrough. Entrusted to Cawl by Guilliman shortly after the Second Founding in the early 31st millennium, this device resulted in a new breed of Adeptus Astartes that were deployed en masse in the Ultima Founding. Due to Cawl's interpretation of his orders and the millennia-spanning labor of his task, during which Guilliman was injured and suspended in stasis, the secrets of this new Primaris organ were never released until late in the 41st millennium. The Primaris Marines possess all 19 gene seed implant organs that have been gifted to their original Astartes brothers, as well as 3 more that only they possess, for a total of 22. These new gifts of Belisarius Cawl's genius further enhance their transhuman status and ability to bring the Emperor's justice to a galaxy shrouded in darkness and despair. The first of the gene seed organs was the Revitalizer, or the Belisarian Furnace. This is a dormant organ that connects to both Astartes' hearts in time of extreme stress, or should the warrior's body undergo violent, damaging trauma. It expels great bursts of self-synthesized chemicals, a hypercocktail that stimulates the biological action of combat stims, while also aiding in the rapid regrowth of tissue, bone, and muscle. The gland then falls dormant again, and takes some time to metabolically build up upon itself until the next usage. Another gene seed organ is the Magnificat, or the Amplifier. In truth, the Magnificat is but half of a true dual-valve Immortus gland, or so-called Godmaker, that the Emperor created for his Primarchs. However, Belisarius Cawl could only find materials and genetic blueprints to build the dextrophic lobe, the right half of the Immortus gland, while plans for the Centaurus, the left half, that could complete the original super organ, had been wholly eradicated from Imperial records of the Primaris project. Whether this was done by the Emperor's own hand or by some nefarious source, Call could not tell. A small, thumbnail-sized lobe that is inserted into the brain's cortex, the Magnificat, secretes hormones that increases the body's growth function, while also intensifying the function of its other transhuman implants, especially those of the Biscopia and the Osmodula. The Sin Coil, or the steel within, is another Primaris gene seed organ. The Primaris Space Marine sinews are reinforced with duro-metallic coil cables that can contract with incredible force, magnifying his strength as well as giving his body another layer of defense. A Primaris Space Marine can crush a man's skull in his hand, break flak armor, or even bite through a metal cable, should the need arise. And those were 40 facts on the Primaris gene seed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it answers some questions. The big question, of course, used to be that, is the Red Thirst and the Wolfen Curse still going to be around? Yes, it's still going to be around, because even though there is a 0.001% deviance from the genetic gene seed of these new Primaris Marines, the Primaris Marines, or I should say that the gene seed drawn from the Primarchs still contain the flaws. So from the very beginning, the flaws were there. It doesn't cure any of the Blood Angels or their successor chapters from the Red Thirst or the Black Rage because of that. Same thing with the Space Wolves. Now, it's always fun to hear about the organs of the Space Marines, the fact that they have 2 hearts, and now they have a little, basically, drug sack that can explode and burst with cocaine, maybe? No, just stimulants that help him fight longer and whatnot, and just provide, just health for him. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, just coils that just make his muscles stronger so he can crush your head with one hand. Even though I thought a Space Marine was already able to do that. In reality, there's like humans now that can crush people's skulls with one hand, so I don't really think that that's that big of an improvement for a transhuman to be able to crush a person's skull. Maybe if he was able to crush like 5 people's heads or 10 babies' heads. I'm just kidding. But then that brings me to another point. For all the Chaos Space Marines who go into battle and they have like their dead warrior skulls on them to like strike fear into the enemy. If I was fighting a Chaos Space Marine and I was a Space Marine and I saw him with like a Space Marine skull, that wouldn't scare me. That'd just make me angry. But if I showed up to battle and I saw a Chaos Space Marine with baby skulls or like dead puppies or kittens, I wouldn't want to mess with that guy. That's disturbing. You want to talk about chaotic and like striking fear into your enemy? Walk into battle with baby skulls. That's just a whole nother level of just chaos. But the biggest craziness about this whole thing is the fact that Belisarius Cawl does have the gene seed for the Traitor Marines. Now, whether creating the Traitor Marines is going to create Chaos Space Marines, no. There's no way that if he puts out Primaris Marines that come from the lineage of, let's say, Mortarion, they're not going to become Plague Marines or anything like that. Because from the very beginning, all the regular Space Marines during the first founding, I should say all the Space Marines that came from Terra and Luna, they didn't betray the Emperor during the Horus Heresy. So all those traitor Marines, or all the Space Marines that came from traitor legions, but also came from Terra, they had to be killed by their parent legion or by their Primarch before they can continue the fight. That's why a lot of the Terran-born Marines were sent to the front lines during the Drop Site Massacre and during the Isfan 5 atrocity, because they wanted to get rid of them. So that goes to show you that just because you come from a traitor legion doesn't mean that you will become a traitor. Now, will Belisarius Cawl accidentally leave the vault to where that gene seed is unlocked or somehow, and somebody might get in and corrupt that? Who knows? But in reality, wouldn't it just make more sense to gather the dead Primaris Marines and experiment on them, which is what old boy, what's his name, the Bile, is doing? And then from yesterday's video, you found out that he might actually have a Primarch-like Space Marine at his disposal. If you watch our video on the Cursed Founding, you're going to find out that in stasis, or in some tube on the gene labs, or in the gene labs of the Cursed Founding, there was a Primaris-like entity that was alive, and he got out. Whether this was something that was corrupted from the beginning by Fabius Bile, and then once he was awoken, he contacted Fabius Bile and they met up or whatever, who knows. But really, I think in the future, it's not going to be so much that Primaris Marines turn traitor, but rather there's a corruption either in the gene seed, or there's a corruption, or there has already been, or Fabius Bile has already been doing what Belisarius has been doing, and creating his own secret Chaos Space Marines, and they're going to end up fighting the Primaris Space Marines. What that means for us is we're just going to get some really cool models, so that is awesome. Now, if you guys have any suggestions for other topics of Warhammer 40K, please comment down below. We will definitely create a video for you. If you have any comments about this whole Primaris gene seed, and of course the whole Fabius Bile and the Cursed Founding thing that we talked about yesterday, comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you like our videos and you want to support us, jump on over to Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you guys. If you can't, we understand. Simply by liking, commenting, and sharing, it helps out the channel. But with that said, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.